My good friend Sanjeev Nair has written an excellent point-by-point rebuttal of Barack Obama's observations in CNN that took place, I think, around June. It aired on the 22nd of June. You all know that thing. Yeah, it's about a couple of weeks since then. And Sanjeev wrote in his website, 𝙒𝙗𝙤𝙤, and I am just adding to that. So if you want the basic premise of this article, you can go take a look at and read that article. I'll give you the link to that in the description section of this hangout. So what is it that is important about this? Let's take a quick look at what are all the things President Barack Obama said about the rights of minorities in India. Well, this is going to be a two-part conversation. The first part, I'm going to talk about what the author finds interesting about the United States, and then the second part talks about the author's submission of facts as far as how the minorities are treated in India. Here we go. Well, in the interview with Christiane Amanpour, Obama had said that if he had a conversation with Modi, his argument would be that if the Indian Prime Minister didn't protect the rights of ethnic minorities, there was a strong possibility of India pulling apart. Well, this part will be answered in the part 2 of this monologue. So let's just park that thought for a moment. And some of the things that people have said is, well, it could be that Biden wanted to ask all these questions of Modi, but since Modi was on a state visit, it is Obama who's echoing Biden's thoughts. Well, you take it for what it is worth. I will leave it to you whether you want to think that that is what is the truth or not. I have no idea whether I should take a position on that. Now, the most important thing that Obama kept stressing, by the way, it is believed that he was born a Muslim and then he converted to Christianity because he was going to enter politics. And in US politics, you have to be a Christian to be able to get noticed. Well, interesting, isn't it? You have Kamala Harris, you have Nikki Haley, you have just about everybody. They all, except for one or two, Radha Krishnamurthy and Ro Khanna come to mind. Most of them have said that they are Christian now. Of course, we have Vivek Ramaswamy, the new presidential contender for the Republicans, who also said that he is a Hindu. So, and in fact, he answered the question best about how it is still the same way it should be treated, how Hinduism is similar to the Abrahamic religions. He had an excellent answer to that. You can go and look it up on the web. Here's the prognosis from Mr. Obama that if India doesn't help its minorities, then there is a fear that India might tear apart one more time. Interesting, isn't it? Because if you look at all the presidents, most of them, in fact, I think I would say all of them will take their oath of office with one hand on the Holy Bible. And they'll have a backstory for that copy of the Bible that, that was my first copy, handed down by my grandma or handed down by my great-great-great-great-granduncle who came as on the Trafalgar. These are stories galore. Somehow trying to say that we belong to that original group that came from United Kingdom. So, whatever it is, do you think that the minorities should feel afraid in United States? For example, I'm not a Christian. Should I be afraid? Are my rights being trampled? Am I complaining? I don't think so. All I'm trying to tell you is that this outrage, this fake outrage that, or this fake concern that Obama has is extremely poorly researched, and it is essentially echoing what another loudmouth, Ilhan Omar, has been saying, and also what USCIRF has been echoing. The pushback is pretty hard now. They are all watching PGurus videos. They know that when we hit back hard, we hit back with facts. So there's no running away from that. Now, if you take a look at 1 year, 2021, 48,830 people died from gun-related injuries in the United States. This is a Pew Research report. That number is more than the 44,729 lives lost due to terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir from 1988 to March 31st, 2019. A period of 31 years. 1 year is more than 31 years. and you still think that the minorities are feeling endangered? You can meet the original inhabitants of the United States maybe in museums or in some protected Indian reservation areas. Otherwise, they are long but gone. Mr. Obama, who has taken several trips to India, would have noticed Muslims are everywhere, including Bangladeshis and now Rohingyas. Over 20 crores of them. That is the population of the Muslims. The last Catholic president before Joe Biden was sworn in was a favorite, John F. Kennedy, who was killed in 1963. During these 57 years, that is since then up until 2020, was the political system not concerned about the sentiments of the Catholic minority? The Catholics are a minority in the United States. Conversely, India has had a Sikh prime minister, and India has had many presidents who are Muslims. And does anyone know why John F. Kennedy was killed and who really was behind it? Lee Harvey Oswald was just pulling the gun. Somebody else made it do it for him because there was a cover-up. When he was going to face sentencing or going to the court, somebody else shot him dead. So basically, you had a two-level assassination and nobody could figure out what happened after that. Well, in 2010, there was a proposal to construct a mosque at Ground Zero in New York. Did you ever do that thing, Mr. Obama? If not, why not? In fact, many say that President Donald Trump has done more for the minorities in the United States than you have, such as the blacks. Why is it that the US never had a woman or a Muslim president? On the other hand, if you look at India, the current president is a Vanvasi Samaj, a tribal, and before that, Pratibha Patil was president too, not to forget Srimati Indira Gandhi, who was the prime minister. And India also had three Muslim presidents, Zakir Hussain, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad, and Abdul Kalam. So India is a much more pluralistic society than US will ever be. I'm sorry, I have to say this thing because I've spent half my life in the US. I can tell you some things don't change. Do you know that India is home to Shias, Sunnis and Ahmadiyas who are not treated as Muslims in Pakistan? Please enlighten, if in the United States, do you have different Muslim sects? And if so, are they being treated differently or preferentially? Full 89 years after US got independence, it has got freedom in 1776, but its first president, I think, was in 1788, if I remember correctly. Anyway, my point is that it took 89 years to abolish slavery. In fact, it took a civil war also. Hope it doesn't exist now. Well, in that case, what happened to BLM, Black Lives Matter? So you have some problems. We have problems in the United States. Instead of addressing these, why are we talking about a country halfway across the world? And how did US grow? It kept buying land. Louisiana Purchase, and then you had Manifest Destiny and many other such things that happened. In fact, buying land from Russia, which was Alaska. Now, how did the United States treat the residents of all those areas? Well, the natives, they are almost extinct now. What about the remaining people? I don't know. I hope you can answer this question. Well, if you look at India's civilization, it has been around for thousands of years. India has been home to Jews, it has been home to Parsis, it has been home to just about, even Muslims who used to, early settlers, they used to be called Mappilas in Kerala, they used to be tradesmen, and India has been hospitable to all of them. In fact, many of these people came before the American country was even discovered, or North America was discovered by Europe. And in all these, over all these years, all these minorities, the Parsis, the Jews, they've all thrived and they never play the minority card. Why is that? What is it that so special about one community that you yourself belong to? And why do you have to keep on whining? That's how it feels to me, that you are whining. And the US is so concerned about human rights in India, but you supported autocracies across Asia and Africa. How did the United States pull down a democratically elected government in 1959 in Iran? Even today, Iran is not settled. Well, this is the two-way street. If you ask questions of others, others are going to ask you of the same. It's called as purva paksha in Sanskrit. That means you look at the other side first before you answer for yourself. Democracy existed in India in Indic form before North America was even discovered. Do you know the other name for India? It's called Bharat. Do you know how or why the name Bharat came about? Thousands of years ago, there was a king called Bharat. And at that time, the son succeeded the father as to the throne. But Bharat felt that none of his sons were equal to the task. So he democratized the process. That is how democracy was born in India thousands of years ago. That's why India calls itself Bharat after Bharat. Now, answer me this question. Every time either you or any other president that comes to India, they are wondered at the Taj Mahal and all the other great things. They partake of the hospitality. Then there'll be one meeting where they'll sneak in this statement saying how the Christian minorities in India are also under danger. You did that, and so did Donald Trump. So this is not a party thing, it is a president thing. Have you ever taken a step back to look at how many church organizations in the garb of NGOs are pumping money into India to try and convert? Why do you have to do that? Why can't you let them lead their lives the way they are? What is your problem? Don't you know that the United States of America is turning away from religion? Many don't even go to the church for their entire lives. Isn't there a problem here? Isn't there a problem with the society here? What have we done for our own brothers and sisters in America? Why go and spend money to try and convert somebody else? What do you hope to achieve by that? Create another East Timor in India? I hope not. Every time you come up with an excuse to go invade a country, you come up empty-handed, like the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Very, very faulty intelligence, and when somebody tried to do some checking, you threaten them. Is that what happened? So the whole Iraq war, the whole reason for going into Iraq to unseat Saddam Hussein, 20 years later now, Iraq is still not stabilized, and the US has walked away. So is this what democracy is? Who gave you the permission? Did anyone in Iraq say that come unseat Saddam Hussein? Because Sunni, he was a tyrant, but he kept the peace amongst the various communities there. What was the reason for trying to, uproot him? Now I'm going to have part 2 in which I'm going to show you some examples of special rights that the Muslims in India enjoy in India. Until then, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button